Et tu, Brute, and you too, Brutus? The whisper cut like a cold blade across the marble. In the Roman Senate, Julius Caesar fell not only to hidden hands, but to an entire system collapsing upon itself. He did not die from a single stab, but from a chain of accumulated causes. A republic in decay, power concentrated in one man, Rome's ancient fear of kingship, envy, and miscalculation on both sides. This is the story not only of one man, but of an entire order reaching its breaking point, the Roman Republic. A machine exhausted to understand Caesar's death, we must examine the system that raised him and then consumed him. The Roman Republic worked through checks and balances. Magistrates rotated annually, power shared, the Senate as collective memory, popular assemblies as the voice of the streets. But for over a century before the Ides of March, cracks widened. Social economic crisis, land concentrated in few hands, debt crushing the poor, urban masses swelling and dependent on grain doles. Precedent of violence. From the Gracchi to Marius and Sulla, politics was settled by private armies, proscriptions, and confiscations. Blood had seeped into the very steps of power. Shift in loyalty. Soldiers bound not to the state, but to their general, the man who paid them and promised land. A society like this longed for order, and was easily swayed by a strong individual. Caesar rose at just the right time, victorious, daring, reforming. But in so doing, he became the structural threat to those who still clung to the old balance. Second, Caesar's power. When a man rises above institutions, Caesar was not only a conqueror, he was an architect of narrative. His commentarii were both campaign reports and direct propaganda to the people. His power rested on three pillars: loyal armies, a decade in Gaul forged legions whose identity was bound to Caesar himself; popular legitimacy, he canceled debts, distributed land, expanded citizenship, and cleaned up administration. To the masses, he was a fixer of history's errors. Symbolic authority, laurel wreaths, golden chairs, his portrait on coins, and the title dictator perpetuo. To the people, these were signs of greatness. To the Senate, they were the tolling bell for the Republic. The clash was fundamental. The Republic needed rotation. Caesar embodied continuity. When one man held both armed force and public narrative, institutions could no longer restrain him. Third, the Roman obsession with no kings, Rome, was born out of expelling kings. From the arrogance of Tarquin the Proud, Romans inherited a credo: no kings ever again. Anything resembling monarchy was instinctively rejected. Unfortunately, Caesar's aura, though he never wore a crown, overlapped with monarchical signs, lifetime titles. Perpetual is the language of monarchy. Deification of image, statues, honors, rituals. The Lupercalia incident, Antony offered a diadem, though Caesar refused. The spectacle still evoked a coronation ritual. For the liberatores, this memory of anti-monarchy was their banner of legitimacy. Killing Caesar was purification of the Republic. Behind the rhetoric of freedom, however, lurked a political calculation. 4. Behind the daggers, the conspirators' true motives. The plot was not uniform. Among more than 60 senators, each had his own rationale. Idealism, Brutus, and a few truly believed in the republic of citizens, not subjects. Interests. For many, Caesar's continued dominance meant loss of office, land, and privilege. Honor and pride. The nobility saw resistance to a king as restoring ancestral dignity. Personal resentments, exclusion, humiliation, sidelining in favor of Caesar's loyal newcomers. Their core mistake: they had a plan to kill Caesar, but no plan for after Caesar. They thought cutting off the head would collapse the serpent. But the serpent's true body was the story the people believed, and its blood was the legions still loyal to Caesar. Caesar's own errors. When legend eclipsed caution, Caesar was not blind, but he had grown overconfident. weakened security. Once surrounded by Spanish bodyguards, he dismissed many in peacetime. Entering the Senate, ceremonial decorum meant no guards, leaving him exposed. Misreading psychology, he thought clementia, mercy, would reconcile enemies. But mercy, however generous, is still the gift of a superior, wounding aristocratic pride. Fatal belief in destiny. The more omens stacked against him, the more he felt compelled to defy fate, as if proving heaven itself stood with him. The morning of the Ides of March. Calpurnia clung to him after her bloody dream. A soothsayer warned, "Beware the Ides of March." Yet Decimus, secretly a conspirator, persuaded Caesar that to stay home would look cowardly. Caesar chose dignitas, dignity, over safety, a very Roman choice, and a fatal one. 6. The choreography of death, signals, stage, and symbolism. The theater of Pompey, temporary home of the Senate, was more than venue. It was fate's stage, under Pompey's statue, Caesar's rival. The sequence unfolded. Tullius Cimber tugged Caesar's toga, the signal. Casca struck first. Chaos ignited. Trebonius kept Antony distracted outside. Decimus had already lured Caesar in. Brutus's blow, it severed trust more than flesh. Ancient sources differ. Some say Caesar gasped, "Et tu, Brute?" Others record the Greek, "Kai su teknon?" You too, child? Regardless, the meaning was the same. His spirit broke before his body did. Caesar fell at the foot of Pompey's statue, a tableau of destiny. The victor of Pompey lay slain beneath his likeness, an image carved for eternity. 7. Why killing Caesar could not save the Republic? Because the Republic was already gone. What remained was public emotion and raw power. Mass grief. Caesar left money and gardens to the people in his will. Mourning became rage. Power vacuum. The liberatores controlled neither the legions nor the flow of food and ritual. Antony and Octavian. One mastered the crowd's passion, the other cold calculation and the name Caesar. Together, they held the tools of survival. The result? Civil wars, the Second Triumvirate, and eventually Augustus rebranded monarchy under republican clothes. The assassins feared a king. Their act birthed an emperor. 8. The institutional trap. Why the outcome was inevitable. Even without Caesar, another Caesar would arise. Why? Territory too vast, requiring centralized command. Professional armies tied loyalty to generals, not assemblies. Economy and communication demanded continuity, not rotation. The Republic's machinery, designed for a city-state, could not govern an empire. Caesar was merely the visible crack in a structure already straining. The liberatores killed the man, not the trend of history. 9. Counterfactuals. Could it have ended differently? If Caesar had left for Parthia early, the plot delayed, but fear of monarchy remained. If conspirators seized Antony and key resources immediately, they might gain time, but Caesar's heirs still had legitimacy and force. If Caesar avoided the dictator for life title, tension eased, but loyal armies plus populist reforms still made him the focal point of fear. In all scenarios, the system's design pushed towards personalized rule. Individuals might alter timing, but not the direction of the tide. 6 core conclusions. Caesar was both symptom and cause. Born of the Republic's chaos, yet accelerating its collapse. Centralized power plus monarchical signs made him the ultimate target. The liberatores had noble ideals, but no strategy for succession. They won a day, lost an era. Public emotion and Caesar's legacy turned him into an untouchable martyr. After Caesar came Augustus, autocracy didn't vanish. It simply learned to wear a republican mask. The institutional mismatch, empire too big, republic too fragile, ensured monarchy by another name was inevitable. Closing, the echo of a system reborn. Caesar fell in the language of betrayal, but also in the grammar of history. When an old order can no longer sustain an empire, a single man will bind the fragments. The liberatores thought they were saving the republic. In truth, they only hastened its transformation into empire. And the words, et tu, Brute, endure because they capture the human moment at the heart of political destiny, where friendship collapses beneath the weight of fate.